What's up, guys? Welcome to another exciting edition of Real Estate Podcast, episode 373. I'm here with Griffin.
I'm here with Trav.
And we're fumbling through the pages of the Kelly Blue Book to find ourselves a Honda Odyssey with Adam.
Looking for Marvel Jesus.
He is Marvel Jesus.
Yeah,
He
he's
beat
like,
Passion of the
Marvel Jesus.
Christ.
I'm going to make a name for myself here today.
So,
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
I was expecting, but this beat whatever I was expecting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a good way. In the best way possible.
It's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I mean, first off, removing the concept of a Marvel movie, that whole thing. What a great comedy.
Yo, yeah. Dude, this
Just
is
in general, man.
this, don't get me wrong. Loved the first two Deadpool movies. They were fantastic, great, enjoyed the hell out of them. This is what Deadpool, and it happened in the comics when they teamed Cable up with him. Deadpool needs a straight guy. You know what I'm saying? To keep him grounded in reality. I'm not saying that he can't carry it. He did, obviously, 2 films. But this just shows that you can have a very serious character that plays off of Deadpool as the straight guy and still get the best comedic gold that you've ever seen on screen.
100%, man.
Having that person that reacts in real time, like the audience kind of wants to react. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, having all of that, and it's what made the Disney film sub theme. It's what made it fit so well.
Yes. It was very well
But where
written.
where do we begin here? I mean, this. I mean,
What about this
Loki
opener?
season 1, episode 5.
When he starts
Oh
with
yeah,
the NSYNC song?
Oh, that was
and
great.
And he's
While
really
he's
doing
just-
the dance?
and he's absolutely massacring the TVA while he does it.
Yeah.
And looking at the bones, like, when they go through them, doing that little slow
Yeah.
pan, like, that's my name.
They didn't hold back at all on the gore.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
Oh, dude, when he's got the Wolverine claws and he's got one stabbed in one dude's ass and the other one in his crotch, and he's just like, it's hard being
Dude,
Wolverine.
He's working them back and forth, and they're like,
Yeah.
ah. He said, keep
The
the
movie
name of my
had-
country out of your fucking mouth.
Oh, dude, the Will Smith reference number
Yeah.
1. And I mean, what about the musical cues?
Oh, they were great.
So much Madonna.
It worked though.
Yes. Yes.
Especially that remix they did at the end. It was like, they're gonna put this on Spotify? It's kind of slaps.
Yeah.
But they were so good. Like, I feel like just starting with the low hanging fruit and working up to other stuff, I guess. Like, I mean, I think my joke holds that the older we get, the cooler AC/DC becomes, because the Hell's Bells fight was fucking
That was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
That was awesome. That was just cool.
I was waiting for an Iron Man reference there. Because that first Iron Man movie was basically just AC/DC soundtrack. You know what I mean?
Video. Just
yeah. So I was waiting for that, and I was honestly wondering if they were going to go in and do some very, very, very. I know they couldn't, right? Because the information was released the day after the movie dropped. But like, if they would have known ahead of time that they were bringing Robert Downey Jr. back.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing them riff on that, you know what I'm saying? Like that would have been kind of like what they did with Blade, you know, and some of the other characters.
But nice, I mean, little love letter to all those, Marvel characters that kind of got, man. They kind of got stiff. They didn't get the glory like all they, of them do now. Like,
yeah.
And it's when he was sitting there talking to Happy, and Happy's like, better luck next time. Like, not everybody's meant to be a hero. And staples his hair on, and
And I guess, yeah, and I guess like with the opening scene we were talking about, it sets the tone for the whole movie because despite all the comedy, all the stuff, I think a thing needs to be pointed out that this is literally 2 hours of Wolverine and Deadpool shanking the fuck out of
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
left and fucking right. Like it is non-stop. Every time they like, there's not one fight in this movie. There are many fights.
Yeah.
Well, when they first
And
land there and he shoots him in the
yeah.
hip, and they're just beating the shit out of each other, He's got all those swords in him, the little dagger, and he's like Sabretooth. He's like, people have been waiting decades for this. He's like, let me clean you up, Come on.
Oh, well, I mean, and at the Hell's Bell fight where he's like, all right, all you kids over 40, you better get your attention span or your whatever
He loves
hats or
those
whatever.
guns.
He goes, yeah. He's like, it's about to get good.
Yeah.
And
Captain
just
America.
like, right.
What a fake out. But then it was like, oh yeah, he did play that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I love that there was no stone unturned in all of the non-MCU properties that they had. And even if they couldn't afford to have a cameo appear, they were able to name drop it and they were able, and that was really cool.
Can we get a Henry Cavill Wolverine movie? I mean,
well, dude, there's a huge
badass.
audience reception to him as Wolverine.
I'm pretty sure he's the new guy. Like I think that's what that movie low key did though. It was like that wasn't just playing on internet rumors. I think that was for real, like a reveal, or maybe it's just my Henry Cavill fangirl kicking in. But
even shaved the mustache.
Yeah, he looked great. He was huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And of course the fourth wall quip with it.
Yeah,
we're gonna treat you so much better than those dumb fucks down the road.
Yeah.
Which speaking of fourth wall, 2 moments. Maybe y'all agree. Maybe there's one that y'all enjoyed. First, the best fourth wall break I think I've ever seen in a Marvel property is when they're laying out the stuff at the TVA, and then he just walks up to the camera, pulls it out, and he goes, "Hey, Fox, go fuck yourselves. I'm going to Disneyland. Get fucked," and headbutts the screen and walks the fuck. And then nice pull where he goes, "Oh, I can gently tap the fourth wall too." The proposal.
It's just like, what the fuck is that?
That whole fucking the dog, man.
Yeah.
And those guns.
Dude, the lady in red moment where that dog's just barreling up that hill.
Yeah.
Cute as fucking hell, dude.
Wolverine's like, ugh.
Yeah.
That whole play on Deadpool trying to kill Nicepool to get that dog. I love that little dynamic that was going. Yeah, he's like, I've got these 2 golden desert eagles.
He's like, why would I would put a mask on this?
He's
like, fuck this guy. And his pretty hair.
So what about the Wolverine montage we get where Deadpool's hopping universes and we get that dope ass montage, man. Like
of all those comic book covers come to life.
We got the early 90s Wolverine, Old Man Logan, early Uncanny X-Men, like Hulk versus Wolverine. I mean, dude, what a love letter to just that character in that little sequence.
Oh yeah,
hey, little guy.
I honestly thought at some point they were going to have Danny DeVito because back in the day when they were talking about making the original X-Men movie, Logan was always written as like 4 foot, 4'11", always a short, and that's where the little short Wolverine came from, And they always talked about, well, the perfect person to play him would be Danny DeVito because the height match and all this kind of stuff. I honestly thought that they were going to have him show up at one point. Yeah, right.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
He could have pulled that off. Like,
yeah.
I mean, in a bit of meta, what if he had jumped into a bar, and at this bar, it's the bar from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And it's a version of Wolverine, but it's Danny DeVito going, so anyways, I started slashing.
Yeah. No, he puts his claws out and he's like, toe knife. That would have been great.
Yeah. But I mean, like, can we no one has brought this up, and maybe I'm just taking something small and just a small bit of dialogue and blowing it out of proportion. But Nova straight up said she skinned Doctor Strange alive and wore his fucking skin for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fucking metal is that?
Yeah. And it's
Like,
like, which version of Doctor Strange got dropped into the void? Like, that's fucking wild.
right?
That reminds me of him being like, "You sold him out." Oh, he was talking all this mad shit about you,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, "No, he dude was Wolverine's looking like, no, he wasn't." He's like, "You fucking turned on him." And then when they play the clip later, where he was like, "Fuck her," that fucking,
Yeah.
he said every bit of it. Like,
And he goes, "And you can quote me on that."
Yeah. Good
she
off.
ripped the skin off of that dude. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
You hear him go, "I rest my case." Like,
God damn, that was funny.
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe you guys have had this feeling with other Marvel movies lately or properties. This is one of the first Marvel films in a long time that by the time the credits hit, I was like, I will watch this again.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I
hundred
would have went
percent.
right back to the theater and watched
Yep.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry,
I could
I had
watch
some
this
technical
over and
difficulties.
over
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
and
would
not have an
totally.
issue with it. Just
Oh yeah, this is a movie you can put in
it
rotation.
might be just for now. It might be the best Marvel movie, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other
I've-
shit that was cool, but like this movie, start to finish,
Yes.
does not
Whenever
miss.
when they're at the TVA talking to Paradox and Wolverine's knocked the fuck out and he gets up and he goes, and Deadpool's like, "Oh hey, what's up? Welcome to the MCU. We're at a bit of a low point."
The whole montage
Like,
where he's getting changed, and that
Oh,
dude
yeah.
keeps touching his package and pulling it up in his ass, like,
and when he comes out, he goes, "Your tailor is amazing. A bit of a pervert." Like,
he touched his sack like 5 times. Like, it's like, dude, you've
Yeah.
already done that. That coffee cup that you see him later with was the coffee cup the nerd was holding at the TVA.
Yeah.
Like whenever he jumps
Oh,
on him
man.
and goes into the thing, then you see him with that cup later when he's looking for Wolverine.
what about
like,
the
"That's funny."
Irish reference when he's falling over that guy? And then whenever they're like, "Did he die?" And then they cut that corner. And it's like, "And I don't." Like, that shit was great. Once again, the musical choices were amazing.
Yeah.
And what about that tracking shot whenever they finally have to fight the Deadpool core?
Oh, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
great. Yeah.
I
That
mean,
was
dude,
phenomenal.
I want to watch the movie again just so I can watch both actors track like what they're doing. Like I want to
Yeah.
watch it once and just follow Deadpool, then watch another one and just follow Wolverine. Because I'm sitting there while I'm watching it initial view and like, oh, a lot is fucking going on. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because the movie really is just total chaos from the minute it starts to the minute it ends, and
Yeah,
it works it works in its favor. But the
Yeah.
movie it starts off the rails. There was no pivotal moment where it's like, oh, this work goes off the deep end. No, the minute you see the Marvel credit and you hear Ryan Reynolds break the fourth wall, you're already off the rails. Like that's
Yeah. And that's the thing, like once it goes off the rails, it's so well written that you're still engrossed in what's happening, but there's so much stuff that's happening on screen that you don't notice because of like some ridiculous thing that's happening that's just gonna, like you said, increase that rewatchability because it's like, how did this person react during the fucking Gambit scene?
Oh,
Whenever
God.
he, how did this person? And there's
Oh,
moments where it's like they broke character. Like you could see Hugh Jackman break character a couple of times and start like laughing, and then he would just start doing his cynical. Like I was like, okay, he's about to break. You can kind of see it in
Yeah.
his eyes where he just wants to bust out laughing, and it's like, how often, how many times did that happen on the when fucking Channing Tatum was Gambit was perfect, man.
He's like, it's been a
oh,
while since I've seen
he's like,
Sling
who's
Blade.
he's, he's like, who's your dialect coach? The fucking minions?
Yeah,
Well, make a name of myself here today.
yeah,
Like, I don't think you're gonna live. He's like, well, you just make sure you tell him
And-
about it. Like,
and I feel like if they could make the Gambit movie, they would need to keep it in the vein of Deadpool,
yes,
and it would like, or they would have to diminish his role to a degree, because like I don't know if he could just do a solo Gambit film,
Well, dude, there's
but
a whole
I
movie of
I
what all
think
happened down there with between
yeah,
them.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
I
there's a
just
whole film there. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
and the girl, they brought her back. She did a great job. She
Yes.
could
Yeah,
now
Oh,
she
for
play
did.
sure.
Wolverine if they, of course,
Yes.
he's back, kind of, but
Yeah. But X-23,
And
great.
yeah, and speaking of that, with her being some of the more serious parts of the movie, I mean, we've seen it posted a lot now too on X. But dude, what about that moment where Hugh Jackman gets to throw some acting chops and
when
he
he was in the
gives
car,
that bitch out and he goes, and it is one of God's sick fucking
Yeah.
jokes that you can't die, and we all
joke's
have
on
to.
us.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, so what else do you have to say,
He's
mouth?
like, we're gonna fight now, and they
And
beat
they
the shit out of
proceed,
each other, dude.
dude, the dog shit. And then at the end, they're just laying in that thing, and that guy's like, and Deadpool's like, I changed my mind. The Honda Odyssey fucks hard.
Yeah.
They beat the ever loving
Car
shit
was
out of each
covered in
other.
blood, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for real.
You got anything to say, mouth? He kept like he was gonna talk, and he would stop. Like what?
Yeah.
So,
Not done.
so who do you guys think the anchor being is? I know it's just a new concept, but
Well, I
with
actually
all the
said this a few
multiversal
nights
stuff,
ago to Griffin and Corey, Iron Man.
I think so too, and I
Well,
think
that
it's going
Iron
to be
Man
either
wasn't
Iron
like none of
Man.
that was supposed to happen. And they go back and do all
Yeah,
that fuckery, and then Iron Man does the snap and dies. Well, now all of a sudden, Iron Man, they're going to get another Iron Man, kind of like they did in this movie. We need another Wolverine. Let's grab another Iron Man. Oh, it's this guy. Damn, it's Doctor Doom.
I think it's Iron Man or Spider Man. That's who I think.
But we
And
know
I
that
agree exactly with what you're saying.
they
though.
show the scene too where he's like, "Why is Thor crying? What's that about?"
Yeah.
And it's him dying.
Yeah.
Well, he tweeted that out and was like, "Why is Thor crying?" And then Hemsworth actually commented on it, retweeted it, and was like, "I can't keep secrets either." So that may be an upcoming thing. I mean, they're still going to do Secret Wars, right?
Yeah, that's how.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
might be a shot from.
I think even though they call that zone the Void, I think the Void's going to slowly become Battle World if they go that route.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's like the arc, like the way it's being laid out, where it's just this hodgepodge of different universes dumping its shit in there.
Well, and we know that you can go there and get out now. It can
Well,
be done.
And
What kind
that's
of
the
powers are they going to have after going through that surge thing?
Well, yeah.
What would that do to them?
Right.
You would think
I
it would
wonder.
supercharge something. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess my question is, and I don't know, they may have explored this in Loki or in this movie, but like, does the void exist kind of like how the Kang at the end of time, does it exist kind of outside of everything?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if they all have different names for the same location. Because
Yeah.
where they're at is doing the same thing in Loki. When Loki gets, when you get pruned, that's where you go, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my question is like, they kind of set it up in this. They kind of retcon in a way what Loki did, where it's like they got rid of all the devices that was able to prune the timelines, but they could build one and build one big enough to prune all of the timelines, right? So my
Well, it's like
question is,
when the timelines are all pruned, that's where we get Secret Wars, I think.
yeah, and it's like, does it send everybody? And just think about it. How many people are on our planet or in our universe in the Marvel world? And think about that infinitely getting pruned all at one time and dropped into the void. Like that is, you know what I'm
It'd be
saying? That is,
chaos.
That's
yeah,
gonna visually look insane if that's something that happens.
yes. So maybe
Is
Doctor
that where
Doom
everybody
does.
went during the snap?
No, I think that they just got
I
snapped out of
think that
existence.
they all ended up, I think, in a version of this. I think they all went into the Soul Stone in
Okay.
like their own little
They were just
pocket
frozen in
dimension. I
time.
think.
Like, So they came
Absolutely,
back like,
yeah.
whoa, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's an interesting concept. It's like if Doctor Doom nukes all the timelines instead of going through Loki and takes it upon himself to get, one of these devices to be able to do that, then that frees Loki up. It's not a matter of protecting him or defending him or him seeking help to stop that from happening. It's a matter of everybody's going to be non-existent at that point, except for like the TVA is going to kind of exist in its own little pocket thing with Loki there, and then the Void with everybody.
Well, it would also I think tie into as well as that is when everything all comes together, the only beings that can survive and persist through time and keep that universe alive is a huge quantity, all the anchor beings.
Yeah,
All the variants of all the multiverse has to be an anchor being, and they all form that sacred timeline, the real proper one.
right.
And yeah, man, like I wonder if it's going to be something like that, and that's a way for them to go. This is why not every hero made it to the MCU, because some of those anchor beings absolutely died.
Could Loki
Yes.
be one?
He
I
might
think
be
he's
the
like the
one.
anchor god. Like
Yeah,
Well, he
yeah,
he's
is
yeah,
now,
like
but
he
he was supposed to die, and then they pulled him out.
yeah. And whenever they went back in time, it caused a split.
Yeah, all that shit went wild.
Yeah,
it
and that's
yeah,
how he
you're
got pulled.
absolutely right. And
So
I'm
he could have
wondering
been
too
one.
is if at some point between Doomsday and Secret Wars, is there going to be like a moment where we're going to have a character actually being able to have an audience with Loki, and like say one of the heroes is like, all right, we're about to fix it, and they get there and they see Loki, and maybe it's Thor for poetic sake,
Yeah,
and they get given the bombshell of like, hey, this has to happen. I'm keeping this together because if I stop doing what I'm doing, it's not just the select few who die, everyone fucking dies.
I
We
think it
all
would.
just cease to exist, And they
I,
have to be like, they have to be okay with it. That's like, because in Secret Wars, at least the recent run of it, like where the X-Men universe, the Fantastic Fours universe, like it wiped everyone the fuck out, but like maybe 8 to 10 primary characters,
right.
and everything else was just their different storied variants that just showed up.
Yeah. I think what'll end up happening is, um, whatever Doom decides to do, it's gonna dethrone Loki in a way. I think Loki is gonna show up on the side of Doom, and it's gonna be that classic Loki misdirect to where he's going to be helping Doom try to further his plans, but like backdoor sabotaging him at the same time.
Well, it's almost like, well, Loki's gonna know and have more or less have the foresight to be able to know where this trajectory is going, and
Yes.
he's gonna do things questionable to the heroes, but really it's because he's doing what made that time travel point possible in Endgame, where they had to go back and make sure all the variables lined up to make the 1 in 14 million
Yeah.
happen. I think this is a way that Loki is permanently going to make it towards like everything that has to happen has to happen.
Yes.
So, yes, villains are going to rise, heroes are going to die, things are going to get bad from time to time, but these things have to happen in order for some semblance of order and some sort of sanctity to this timeline can exist.
Yes. And I think that that's a good position to put Loki in because he went from being, the main villain of the Avengers to having this swan song, you know,
He got to
character
be a hero.
change. Yes. And it's like now if he shows up as like Doom's right hand man, again, like kind of like he was Thanos, but like the real right hand man that's like taking the lives of some of these heroes. And then like Thor's like, bro, I thought you were dead. All this stuff happened. What is going on? And Loki's just like, trust me, brother. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is bad. It's gonna get a lot worse. but we're gonna make it better. Trust me. And one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be one of those moments where Loki gets to do an ancient one moment on someone like she did with Doctor Strange and like bust a hero's third eye wide the fuck open,
Yeah,
and they're like, "Look, you don't have words for this, and I know you can't explain it to them, but this is what's going to unfold,
yeah,
and you're going to have to either die or keep this to yourself." Like, you know what I mean? I feel like something like that,
yeah.
This is
and
pretty
that could, I
funny.
mean.
Deadpool domestic, it's made almost 900 million worldwide, but
Yeah.
domestic was 2 days ago 395 million for R-rated movie,
Mhm.
beating the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, The Passion of Christ. He
Yeah,
really is Marvel Jesus, dude.
he became Marvel Jesus.
He really is.
I mean,
That's funny.
it is what it is. And what's crazy is how standalone this movie can actually be if you really
Yes.
think about it. You don't necessarily have to have done your homework. Like, it's a great movie to jump into Marvel right now.
Yeah.
But it
really
lays
is.
everything
It's
out
a
that you need to know.
Yeah.
and it's completely bonkers. So all the crazy stuff you would see in the former films and the future stuff, this is a good movie that you can be like, if there is someone in your life that's like, I've never watched a Marvel movie, I haven't touched a comic since the 90s, what's this shit like? You can probably give them, you can be like, all right, do you want something serious? Do you want something funny? And they're like, I want something serious. You pop in, I don't know, fucking Logan or something. You want something comical? You let them try Deadpool and Wolverine, and if they
Well, it
don't
gets
like either
serious
of
at the
them,
end.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's got
I
its
mean,
moment where it's like, oh shit, we're
but it
saving the world.
absolutely still but it also has a very good. It has that classic Disney ending, like they're
When he
sitting
shuts
around the
that door on
table.
him and he's like, no,
Yeah,
he's like, I got to do it.
Come
dude.
Spock.
Well,
Yeah.
two moments that I openly just laughed out loud in the theater, and I felt like I felt I wasn't. I was kind of I'm embarrassed because I was the only one that did it. It was two particular moments. It's when they opened up Ant-Man's helmet and you
Mhm.
saw the skull and you
Yeah.
hear Ryan go, "Oh, Paul Rudd finally aged."
Mhm.
I died at that. And when they were fighting at the very end and they're outside of that shoe store, I happened to read it and it says Leafield's Foot Store,
Yeah.
which is an homage to Rob Liefeld, who created Deadpool,
Yeah.
and he even makes fun of him in like the one of the last two movies. The whole thing with Rob Liefeld is that he's notorious for being bad at drawing feet,
Yeah.
and I just that little nerd moment made me laugh. And I was
Dude,
like, maybe I'm too comfortable in this theater right now, you know.
no, dude, it's that attention to detail. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that is just like, no, it's not everybody's not gonna get this, but the people that do get this are gonna fucking love this. So we're gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's the thing with the movie. It just felt like the biggest love letter to comics, the Fox movies, the Marvel movies, like the Disney Marvel movies. Like
Well,
it just,
it's a well needed tip of the hat to all the movies that had to crawl so that Marvel could walk.
yeah. But yeah.
And
Oh,
and in full honesty, man, the best like unexpected thing for me was seeing Wesley Snipes walk on screen.
yeah, that's what I was fixing to
God
bring
damn, that
up.
was cool.
Like,
That
dude,
I mean, dude, and what was funny was there's that exchange that they have where if you remember, Ryan Reynolds played alongside him in Blade
Well, they
Trinity.
like hated each other.
And yeah. And
Yeah.
so there's that moment where he goes, I don't like this guy. And
Yeah.
Deadpool's like, oh, I know.
Mhm.
Like, and then of course we get that thing where he's getting the gun and he's like, there's only one blade. There will only be one blade. And that had me thinking as I was digesting the movie afterwards. I was like, wouldn't it be a great running joke? And I hate it because we wouldn't get to see Mashallah Ali as Blade. but wouldn't it be great if he continuously stays Blade
There's been talks of him doing more.
Yeah.
and the Blade movie that we're supposed to be getting from the MCU is like this like on running joke. Like the movie won't ever get made, but there's always talks of it. But
Yeah.
just to be able to honor Wesley Snipes is just like he's Blade, man. He's Blade like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Like
Yeah.
it's really going to be hard to recast this, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've got a couple of articles about, the potential for Blade, coming back, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. But what if that's the reason why
The
they've been
reshoots and
delaying? Yes, because like think about it. Came out in what, 98,
something like
97?
that. Yeah,
So
around that.
they threw Blade, Wesley Snipes is an easy get. They kind of threw Blade in, um, to reprise his role, Wesley Snipes to reprise his role and all that good stuff. But like they weren't I guarantee you, Feige and the rest of the team was like, we don't know how people are going to react to this. Well, the reaction has been incredible.
Yeah, it was
Maybe they
exciting.
were, yeah, so maybe they were purposefully delaying this just to see how audiences reacted to and maybe the same thing with Ghost Rider. I know that he wasn't in the movie, but Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds,
I've seen yeah the articles where they've talked they wanted to try to get him, I think.
yeah. So it's like that would make more sense to me why
Well,
they're
there's
having a
a
hard time
director's
locking
cut
it
too,
in.
so
Yeah,
we don't know who's going to be in that. They cut out what's her name? Brie
dude.
Larson, dude. That's
Yeah,
why she's pissed. She was completely cut out of the movie. She was supposed to
yeah.
be in it.
Have you seen this,
What
Trav?
as Cap? No, was she supposed to show up as Captain Marvel?
I
Yeah,
guess. I mean,
like a version. I'm guessing a
she
version.
mad as
And
hell.
She-Hulk was supposed to show up, and they cut her out of the end. And they're both bitching like
Okay.
crazy online. Like they are flipping the fuck out about not
So
having their characters in the
it's
theatrical release.
it's very interesting of learning about the She-Hulk part. Carol Danvers doesn't quite make sense, and I feel like I could understand why they didn't include her. But with She-Hulk and her ability to break the fourth wall, because I feel like there's one critical piece of this movie that's missing, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I was trying like hell to.
There's a lot going on.
But okay, so when Deadpool goes to the to Earth 616 and he's at the Avengers talking to Happy,
Mhm.
he's from Universe 10005.
Yes.
There's never a moment in that early part that shows him jumping those universes. How did he get from 616 to back to his universe?
I'm assuming he used the.
And I don't know if it's the tele thing because I don't think that it plays out in that sequence at all. And it
Talking
makes me
about Deadpool?
wonder if, yeah, and it makes me wonder if there's a moment where Deadpool straight up pulled a She-Hulk and just jumped the fuck out and went to another, like the way the finale was, where she jumps out of the Disney Plus thing and literally goes out of the fourth wall.
But that was
And
in Deadpool's, and they said the timeline. I watched something where they broke down the timeline. Like this was like during the time they were moving everything to the new like Avengers. Remember the
Yeah.
Stark? Yeah, because they're in the process of moving shit. Like none of them are there.
oh, so
They
the
give you
events
a
of this
breakdown
movie
of the like Wolverine don't line up. He dies in like what is it 2030?
Yeah.
This movie
you're
takes place
right.
in present day. That don't line up.
But I
Well,
think for
But it
me,
does in that
I just,
world, because they were in a different.
yeah.
I mean, he pulled him out of his world, which he saved everyone in. So it was already like a fucked up timeline that they was going to prune, right? It was like, well, dude, I mean,
Yeah.
we got to make it right.
Which, how cool is it to name a machine the Time Ripper?
Yeah. Right. But yeah,
cheesy, but
I,
really fucking cool.
well, I watched Deadpool 2 before, like a day before we went to watch Deadpool 3. And the time thing only had two charges. Cable used it to go back the first time, and then he used it again to save Deadpool at the end of Deadpool 2. And then he takes it to the mansion and have it fixed, and that's when he goes back and he kills off the other version of himself. He kills, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
goes, he does all that kind of stuff. So I was under the impression that maybe it was modified in some way because, like, in theory, like Cable's universe kind of ceases to exist and his family
Well, here's
ceases
what it
to
says here. So
exist.
this makes sense. That's the what you call it, X-Men universe, Fox X-Men universe. Different. That's what this is saying. Like, because when Wolverine dies, that's 2029,
Yeah.
and then but the Marvel universe. So they're having them split. One's Fox, one's Marvel. Then they meet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the times are different. So Cable would have been in the Fox one.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes okay. I get it.
That's why the
I'm-
timelines are different.
Yeah.
Okay, because when that first happened, I was like, wait a fucking minute, well, something didn't get explained here, but I think it's just the overload of the movie.
Yeah. I never thought I would get a badass Gambit fight sequence, especially one with like blood and gore and like him using his powers to his full extent. And I was so fucking happy to finally get that in live action.
He definitely made a name for himself.
Yeah, yeah, right. It was such.
Well, what was
great.
funny is when they're in Elektra's hideout, and that they all finally decide to be in agreement on stuff. They're like, maybe we have a chance to save the universe. And he's like, or some universes that could have never existed. And he's like, and we can save the world one more time. And he's like, or all the times we could have saved the world. Just acknowledging the fact that his universe didn't get realized.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember my daddy,
I
but
love
I'm
that
sure I
little-
shot down and slung down
Oh,
his leg.
dude, that shit was great. Shot out like a cannon.
So fucking. I can't wait to watch it again. It was just an incredible ride. And other than the Gambit fight, like the fight that happens at the Ant-Man husk or the Ant-Man corpse, was Deadpool getting the head Max thing. This is your Queen Furiosa.
Yeah.
That was so fucking funny.
I control
dude.
her.
Yeah, I was fucking laughing my ass
So
off
fucking
so
funny.
hard.
And they're all looking
That
around like, what the fuck is he talking about? Even
Yeah.
Wolverine's like, what?
Yeah.
It's
I
like people
want
have been
more.
waiting for this fight.
Yeah.
And he runs up to him and just cuts his head off. It's like, done.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need your fucking help. He's like, all right, fine. Fuck off, Furiosa.
Yeah. This is your Queen Furiosa. It's so fucking great.
It was so random.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Especially like that movie wasn't even out.
Yeah,
They had to have seen
Furiosa's
it, and then be like, it'd be funny if we put that in it. And it's like, good pull, dude, because it was a good movie.
Yeah, right. I'm definitely giving it a full star.
Oh man,
It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
I'll own it.
It gets the coveted real estate golden deagle, man.
It gets 3 deagles.
3 deagles, dude.
Giggles.
3 deagles and a dog only its owner could
With
love.
the tongue hanging out. It's one of those like hairless with a little bit of hair. That thing looked like a nutsack.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Man, that dog would never leave your side, bro.
He was loving it. He was like, hey, there's my dog. And he's like, wait a minute, you don't decide. He came to me. Like,
You hear him go, hey, sorry.
yeah. He was so friendly. I like how he put his wife in the movie.
And his
Lady
kids.
Pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was the cowboy Deadpool, was that Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All
Dude,
right.
dude, I wasn't expecting the fucking dude from Lock Stock to show back up as fucking Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Like what are the
Right.
fucking odds of that fucking
I mean,
and
dude, they managed to get everybody.
yeah, Lady Deathstroke doesn't look like she's aged a day since 2003. Like,
For real.
dude.
I mean, Toad still looks like Seth Borland or
Yeah.
Wes Borland from
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Um, I
Call
mean,
him Toad
Pyro.
Borland.
and I mean, dude, I mean, I know we acknowledged it earlier though, but what about that credit clip where they just signed off
Oh,
for everybody,
Yeah.
man?
hope you had the
Like
time of your
that was.
life. Well, it
I
goes
mean,
with what he
dude,
was
if
saying
we're
earlier when he's like, I'm doing this one for the people, the forgotten. That Deadpool almost didn't get
yeah,
made.
Yeah.
I mean, he leaked the footage. For
Yeah.
sure was him.
Yeah.
He leaked that test footage and he said with it, I was been watching interviews lately since I've seen the movie, so I was watching all the press. They did hot ones and they went overseas and he's like, the footage got leaked. He's like, may or may not have been me. And he was like, within 24 hours, the movie was greenlit.
I mean,
And he knew they would do it. If he was like, if the world could just see this footage,
yeah.
it'll happen. But all those forgotten characters, like the forehead, Jennifer Gardner, like not a big fan of that
right.
character, but I was like, oh, it's
I mean,
her.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to have Ben Affleck's Daredevil, but like, it makes sense why
They used to
those
be
names
married. That's
didn't
not gonna
show
work
up. I mean,
out. Yeah.
there was a budget. Just because it's
Yeah.
doing well doesn't mean it had that money
I
to start.
guarantee
You
you,
know,
though, if they would have called him, he would have probably done that on the low.
Well, they said that he was on set in the
Yeah.
Daredevil
So
costume, so they might have cut that scene out.
it may be in the director's cut. They're
Yeah.
gonna save something to make more money again. This movie
I
is
mean,
gonna hit $1 billion.
there
Yeah.
could be there could be segments they filmed that were so brutal that Feige was like, "Look, man, we get it. It's
I
R
mean,
rated, but
it was
like,
pretty R-rated, dude. How many times did they say fuck?
hey,
How
I'm
many
like,
times did they drop the F-bomb and how much blood did you see?
and how many times did they break the fourth wall talking about not being able to do blow? That's the one rule they couldn't
But
do
kept
was
bringing
do
it up
cocaine.
about
Yeah.
cocaine. Like,
And he said, he goes,
he's like,
dude,
booger,
I want to build
sugar,
a,
Colombian bam
I want to
bam.
build a snowman.
Yeah. What was funny was when they were doing the Deadpool street fight, that blind lady was up there like she could see it. Oh,
Yeah,
like
she
she
goes,
was
God
watching.
damn, I wish I wasn't blind, or I
Yeah.
wish I was deaf.
Yeah. Damn.
Because if you think about it, all she was sitting there doing was hearing shing, shing, oh, just fucking
Yeah.
death
And
and
them screaming.
Yeah.
So
And she's like, God damn,
like
I
those
wish I was
channels like
deaf.
Rockstar Games, all those, not
Yeah.
Rockstar Games, but the Rockstar channel that does the Easter
Heavy
egg videos
spoiler
and stuff.
Yeah.
Their video for this movie is over an hour long.
Yeah, I haven't watched
There's
it yet.
so many. I tried to watch it. I was like, God damn, I can't handle all this. I'm having a hard time taking because it's just so much.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
fit so much into this movie. And he does a second one explaining the timeline because he tries to lay all that out, like when this is taking place or when that was happening.
Right.
So Deadpool saves this world. Now that Wolverine's living there.
Yeah.
I mean, is Wolverine back?
I think so.
Well, if Ryan Reynolds signed all these movies,
Yeah.
so we're gonna be seeing him again. This ain't like some, yeah. That's what he told him. I mean, dude, how
Yeah.
great does he look?
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you'll notice, you'll see photos from that set when they're doing that fight.
Yeah.
They put the arms on him. He was wearing sleeves, and in that fight, they put muscles on him. They like, because when you
Yeah.
see him walk out, it's like, God damn, like
Yeah.
there's just the veins and shit. Those arms, they like masked them over it. Like
I mean,
they look good.
yeah.
But when he put that cowl on, it was like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. I was so happy to see him in the brown
Well,
suit.
that's what
Oh.
I
they.
love that
That's.
suit.
Oh yeah, dude. Giving us the giving us the wardrobe montage.
Oh,
I mean, look at how good some of those suits
Well, when
look,
he come dragging him
and
in there, he's like,
realizing,
20 years people been waiting for this. He's
yeah, and
dragging
it's
him in
like
there, and he's all drunk in that suit.
it's just
I
making us
never
real.
take it off.
And they picked the perfect Wolverine story to have that be why he's wearing the suit.
So
Yeah.
he was out getting drunk, and his people died, right?
And then he
Mhm.
killed everybody.
Mm.
Yeah.
He went full Hawkeye,
Yeah. He killed everybody.
which was funny whenever Gambit walks in and he goes, "You look like Hawkeye if he was a superhero."
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's like, we ain't never had a Wolverine down here.
Such a great. But
That might
yeah,
have been my favorite cameo there.
I wasn't
It was just that
expecting it.
voice.
Like,
I'm about to make a name of myself right here,
Well,
y'all.
dude, when they start walking in, it's like, oh, that's Electra. Okay. And then it's like, whoa. But when Blade came in, it's like, okay. And he had that little gray soul patch.
The
yeah,
deepest of all cuts, man.
I mean, come on.
The Midnight Sun himself.
but yeah, I'm giving it a full shiny Desert Eagle.
Polished.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason it's making the money it's making, man. It's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
It may like be the highest grossing of all time. I hope it does. I hope it makes so much money that they're like, damn, why didn't we? And then they'll be like,
Yeah.
make more.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we want.
Yes. Fan service.
Silly goes
A
time.
good story. Yeah, exactly. It's not hard.
And like, people are like, man, Wolverine will look ridiculous in that suit. It's like, yeah,
That's
do
the
it.
point.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what he wore. I mean,
It's ridiculous, man.
I'm not even sure Ryan Reynolds was there half the time.
Oh. I think he oversaw this because he was a producer on it too. I
Yeah,
think
he
that
had to
he
be
was
there.
there whether he was in the suit or not, he was there making sure that shit was going right because it's like his Marvel debut.
Yeah, well, the
You know
whole
what I'm
time I'm
saying?
watching it, I'm like, how can he see through those eyes? Can he see through them, or do they add that in? They probably add that because it's like white.
Yeah.
It's part of the mask. It's white. Ain't no way he can see through that. Not being that like
mean,
milky white, like
yeah.
nah, that don't.
Oh.
And, well, I mean, ever since the first movie, his mask has been a combination of practical and
Yeah.
CGI effects because he's able to like make facial
But they'll do
expressions
that.
and
They'll
stuff,
wear shit where they can't see and just do.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is
you
crazy.
do whatever you got to do to get the shot.
Stand on the X, bro.
Yeah. They got the entire NSYNC video. They're like, he
Oh,
did the
hell
whole
yeah.
song.
I mean,
So I'm like, you got to open the director's cut with that. Fucking drop that shit. I'll go to the theater and see that again.
yeah, right.
They'll probably save that for their big debut on Disney.
Yes.
The director's cut will be longer.
Yeah.
Or they may drop it with all this. I mean,
Yeah.
if it makes more than Spider-Man,
It could.
As good as the movie is,
how
and
fast has it made
as-
this much?
Yeah.
Well, as
We're on track to beat
rewatchable,
that.
as rewatchable as it already is, it's one of those films where if there's a director's cut, absolutely,
I'm gonna buy a hard
Marvel,
copy of this movie.
take that double dip, man.
And it's been a while since I bought a Blu-ray.
Yeah, right.
Pretty sure it was once upon a time in Hollywood.
I agree. It's worth.
I'll own it. Like, this is
it's
something I
gonna-
could put on to just watch.
Yeah.
Like,
It deserves owning for posterity.
plus there's so many jokes and so many quotable lines that I need to get a copy. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, right?
you can't retain all of it
No, it's too
that
much.
first time around. It's like, this is an
dude.
overload of lines, man. I can't even.
I was trying to remember punchlines
yeah.
in the first hour, and I was forgetting them by the second because the second hour has just as many.
I pulled my phone out and I was like, I haven't seen Sling Blade in a while. I was like, I have to remember that one. That was funny. But then he just hit you with like 14 more off the rip, and it's like, fuck it, dude.
Yeah.
I just need to get a copy of the script.
The Cavalrine, the legends were true.
Banger.
And that did I send that article, Trev, where it was like and I don't know if this is true or not. This is, of course, unverified, but like Feige had a mass laying off at the Marvel office, getting rid of some of those agenda pushers.
Really?
Yeah, writers, producers, thinning the herd out just a little bit. I mean, dude,
Well, I mean, this movie is drastically different than
Big time.
any other, like, regardless of the R rating, it's
Yeah.
drastically different than their current trajectory.
Well, even he made a
using
joke.
the-
He was like, "I don't want to gender anyone. I'm gender, blind."
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
You
all
know?
of the jokes were very like if you walked away
Well,
from
like
that
when he
movie with
said
any
that, I
kind of
didn't roll my eyes
offense,
like, "Oh God!" It was meant to be a joke.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And at one point, he's like, "Blah blah blah. I don't want the woke mob after me."
Yeah. But yeah, apparently like I said, I don't know how true that is, but it's like, this movie, I would say that this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 have been the best movies that have released
We're
in the
so
most
back.
yes. And the reason why is because they prioritized the story and the characters over everything else that's going on. Same thing with Moon Knight.
Absolutely.
And this goes to show you that, like, look, you can throw stuff in there as if it makes sense, if it makes sense with the character. And like a lot of people is giving Deadpool 3 shit because of how gay it is, right? But Deadpool as a character has always kind of flirted that line
It's
of
just his
being like
comedy, man.
a non-binary
Yeah.
type character, and it fits
Well,
with
I
him.
mean,
yeah, and I mean it's no
pagan joke.
different than watching. That's why it's just a solid comedy.
Yes.
When he
It just
said that and
happens to
winked
be a
at the camera,
superhero movie. Yeah, man.
it's like
Like,
it's new to Disney, but it's not new to me. I'm familiar with it. And winked at the.
are you trying to Old Yeller my fucking universe?
But yeah, man. And people were giving the movie shit because of how well this movie was received, especially the dancing sequence at the beginning of the movie with Deadpool,
That
and
was
saying,
perfect.
why do the Marvel fanboys like this? And they hated on the She-Hulk twerking scene at the end of that one episode.
Well,
Well,
when we were
think of
kids, this song was a thing. Like that song was that like Megan the Stallion.
Yeah.
it was
You know what I
it was
mean?
an
Like it's a
it was
cultural thing. Like
and I think also something that people are forgetting with She-Hulk is that by the time we get that scene, there's already been backlash to the show, and that just snowballed, and that just made it worse.
I was
Well,
probably the only one here that knew who the fuck that was just because I saw it on TikTok. Like, and was like, "Oh, that's her." Okay,
yeah.
because it was a TikTok trend. Like, Deadpool was doing the whole like pop culture.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we like. Go look at the fucking soundtrack that they've put together. It's 6 hours long. It's like 77 songs.
Yeah.
And they go from the 70s to 80s to the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
it's pop culture, man. And that's what comic books have always been. Hell, that's what Comic-Con is. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
why it's better.
Not only that, but it's on brand for Deadpool. Deadpool is known for being this outrageous character. He's
Silly
danced
goes
and
time.
he's done all this stuff in the movies, in the comics, in the shows. He's always been that character. Watching She-Hulk, who's supposed to be a lawyer in a lawyer's office, twerking and dancing around, it's like this feels out of place. This doesn't feel right. It feels forced.
He was singing "Bye Bye Bye" while he was fucking a whole group of dudes up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Made sense.
Yeah. So
And he was twerking. I mean, he was getting down.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was ass.
I mean, that's the thing, man. It's all about like that lends itself to the character. That it didn't need to be put in there.
It
just
felt
for
forced with She-Hulk.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This felt natural.
Yes. So I don't know, man. It's wild. But of course that reaction comes because of people didn't like the Marvels. People didn't like Miss Marvel on Disney Plus. People didn't like She-Hulk, and it's like, Yeah, because the story sucked.
Yeah.
Like the stories were just bad and the characters were just not represented in the correct way. Like, come on.
You got to know your audience, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's like if because and that's ultimately the problem. It's terrible writing.
Yeah.
There's not a problem with Brie Larson being
No.
Captain Marvel. There's not a problem with any of these actresses at all.
Wonder Woman.
And they're
no
more
problem.
and they're more than, they're more, they're just humans like us that can have those opinions of the world, whether we agree with them or not. But as long as they show up to work and know the assignment,
Right.
and the writing team and the directing aspect and the director can weave their ability into a good performance, I don't give a shit what their politics
Well,
are.
we just went through it with Star Wars, and that was Star
Eggs.
Wars, man. Like it's hard to fuck up Star Wars.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta want to fuck Star Wars up to fuck Star Wars up.
Yeah, exactly.
It
mean-
practically writes itself. I mean,
It's Jim Henson Muppets with lasers and fucking just holding your hand at someone.
well, dude, when it got to the end of that season, I was like, hell, the AI would have done better. Fuck, let's let that motherfucker write the script. Like,
Yeah.
And and speaking of Star Wars, the more that I've been chewing on that Acolyte viewing we did, I truly hate that, like, there were things about the Acolyte that were so close to being great and
Yes.
good.
Yes.
and then they just shit all over it.
And then it would get there, and then it would pivot to something that just didn't really make sense.
Well,
Or
did y'all
just
realize
wasn't
that the chick
and I know
that
this
they
isn't-
killed that looked like the one Jedi, the little one, that's the
Mhm.
chick from Deadpool.
Yeah, that's X-23.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Really?
That's her.
Yeah.
Really?
The best character in the show that they killed in that episode.
Yeah,
The
bunch
most
of red
interesting
shirts.
character. Yeah.
And it's like, damn, y'all just killed the whole team. And then by the end of it, they're like, oh, wait, we're going to kill the guy from fucking whatchamacallit too.
Yeah.
It ain't over yet.
Fuck it.
We're going to kill
Yeah.
all the Jedis.
But loved it. I would go to the theater right now and watch it.
Yeah.
I
need
agree.
it.
Truly agree.
But yeah, we got a little bit of movie news though. So David Lynch sets the record straight on retirement rumors. Figure we could go ahead and hit on this. Legendary filmmaker David Lynch has responded to recent reports suggesting that he is ready to retire from Hollywood due to health issues. In a post on his ex Twitter account, Lynch set the record straight about his health and what seems to have been premature reports of his need to step away from the camera. Does our resident David Lynch want to read this? Hold on. I'll copy the
please do.
quote. I'll copy the
Please
quote and
do.
paste it in here.
He's like, was he got emphysema?
Yeah.
Or
There's
he's
the
like,
quote.
yes, I have emphysema from many years of smoking. I have to say that I enjoyed smoking very much. And I do love tobacco. I'm not going to do this whole thing like that.
But listen to this. I have to say that I enjoyed smoking very much. I do love tobacco. The smell of it, lighting cigarettes on
I get
fire,
it.
smoking them. But there is a price to pay for this enjoyment, and the price for me is emphysema. I have now quit smoking for over 2 years. Recently, I had many tests, and the good news is that I am in excellent shape except for emphysema. I'm filled with happiness, and I will never retire.
But he's worried about
won't-
COVID, right?
Yes, yeah. So if he gets COVID, he'll definitely have to be put on a respirator.
Well, that would kill him because
yes,
that's what that does when you catch COVID. But
yeah.
should someone let him know that that's not really a thing anymore? Like, is he just scared of COVID?
I think they put the fear of God in him. He was doing weather report,
And he's wearing his mask on the wrong way. He's got it on his eye for some reason. But
Oh
I
my
mean, let's
God.
face it, it is time for him to retire.
Yeah, he's 70.
He saw Dune and was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I can't
He
make
did it
films
better than
anymore.
me. You know, he got 2, soon to be 3.
Yeah. So
But he
yeah,
does one
that's
hell of a weather report.
yeah. So, David Lynch has made some incredible films and television series, and
He's a
I mean,
wacky dude.
yeah, I mean, he is just a very interesting individual, to say
Piece
the
of pop
least.
culture, man.
I can't wait for the David Lynch biopic to come out, because
That needs to be.
that's gonna be like Man on the Moon. You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
feel like
Like,
now he's like the aviator.
oh
He's a
yeah,
recluse, and that may be his cover for being a recluse. Like he's inside, because that dude was like a bit of a germ freak.
yeah,
So he's a recluse now. He's inside, like screening movies, peeing in jars.
yeah.
Bring me my eye mask. You know, he's
I
afraid he'll
need the
catch
pet
it through his
checker.
eye.
Yeah.
I require my ointment.
Yes, it's crazy clown times.
Oh God.
I mean, he's still writing and doing stuff on his IMDb here. Oh yeah, he pretty much stopped during
Yeah.
COVID.
I have a steady diet of pork chops, potato salad, and couscous.
Dude, he eats the same thing all the time. Have you heard him talk about it?
No.
I can't even remember what it is, but like he has this, he's got some kind of tism and eats the
Right.
same shit every day. Gotta be the same stuff. No matter where he's at. I've heard him talk about it where he's like, he eats the same. I can't remember what it was, but it was weird shit. Like you can tell how he keeps healthy when you hear what he eats. It's like, oh yeah, what do you ever had
Yeah.
some KFC, motherfucker? You know,
Like chicken and grilled
you ever had
chicken
a
and
piece of
broccoli every
pizza?
day. Yeah.
It was some
right.
weird shit where it was like, oh yeah, that's super healthy. So that makes sense that he would also, so he's a health freak. He's scared.
Yeah.
And emphysema's rough. I mean,
Yeah. So,
he should be able to
But yeah.
afford some lungs.
yeah. But
And I
yeah,
wasn't BB.
that's what's
$70
going
million
yeah.
he's worth. He could buy some lungs.
I mean, I'm sure that if he's writing stuff, it might get adapted.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You know
he's
what I
got
mean?
something that he wrote 2024 that looks like it's going to be made.
Yeah. So, you never know.
Hmm.
But next up here, J.J. Abrams. Secret new movie from Abrams adds the perfect A-list duo. So Wednesday star Jenna Ortega has seemingly found her next project, but nobody knows exactly what it is. After her incredible 2022 run, including Scream, X, and the hit Netflix series Wednesday, Ortega has quickly become one of the most in-demand stars, as well as reteaming with Wednesday director Tim Burton on the upcoming Beetlejuice, which is looking to become one of the most anticipated movies of 2024. Ortega has found her next film, joining fellow rising star Glenn Powell in a highly secretive new movie from director J.J. Abrams. So, Deadline reports that Ortega is in final talks to co star with Powell in a new movie directed by Abrams. No details are known about the film at this time, as it is a secret project being developed by Abrams and his production company Bad Robot at Warner Brothers. Abrams is also credited as the writer of the script, and the film will mark his first behind the camera as a director since 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. No plot information has been revealed about the film other than it's not a time travel movie, but it must be something truly special to tempt both Ortega and Powell to come on board.
Dale Earnhardt
I like
Jr.
both.
If they ever do a
He does,
biopic,
yeah, he does look like Dale Earnhardt
he
Jr.
does.
Right? I do enjoy him quite a bit. I
Yeah.
haven't watched Twisters yet.
I
Which
can't
Twisters?
wait to see it. It's got like a 90% on Rotten, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be on VOD on August the 13th.
Can't wait.
So we'll definitely have to throw that into the rotation. But I like both of them.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see if they're going to play like a couple, because I think I haven't really seen her in anything that's not like either horror or like very, Tim Burton-y.
Yeah, so
I'm
maybe a little
interested.
sci-fi.
Yeah, so I'm well, and you know how like Abrams likes to do the whole Spielberg sci-fi, so it'll be very family oriented. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see her in more of a family type dynamic if they go that route with it. So,
Abrams fell off, man.
well, he got a little too big for his
He's
britches.
got 18 things in development right now.
Of
Under his
course.
upcoming 18 things. It's like, dude, pick something. You know?
He's like, I've got so much to
He's
give.
too many irons in the fire, dude. But
Mhm.
I do like her. I watched a little bit of that Wednesday thing.
Yeah,
It was okay for what it was. I didn't see it all. She
yeah,
was good in X, which went on to be a major platform now.
yeah,
Who knew? Elon was a big fan of the movie, you know?
yeah.
Thinking about calling
Isn't
it X.
Abrams still? Isn't he wrapped up in either some legal stuff over that deal he made where he guaranteed a bunch of properties, but he's
You
failed
mean
to
those
give them
Star Trek
anything?
properties?
I think it was Star Trek. I think it was just
I think it
whatever
was
he. It was
Star
just.
Trek.
It was just an
He's
agreement
still
he
got an
made. Just
untitled prequel
content.
under his belt. Oh yeah, he signed some big deal where Bad Robot was going to do. Oh,
Yeah,
he's a
just.
producer on that Presumed Innocent. That's a new show.
Yeah.
He's
But yeah,
a
I wonder if he
producer
was
on
still dealing with
Batman,
that.
Cape Crusader. That's out right now.
I've heard it's really good. I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's really, really, really good. Goes back to the Batman the Animated Series type vibes.
Oh yeah,
So
That sounds legit.
I
but
don't
I'm
know.
down.
That might have been the last thing that Conroy did because I know that he was they had finished something before his passing, and that might be it. So I don't know. But next up, I mean, we've got to talk about this whenever it's in the news. Screenwriter behind the most disappointing Stephen King adaptation of the last decade reflects on failure.
Hmm?
Stephen King fans have high expectations of Mike Flanagan's attempt to bring The Dark Tower to screens in the coming years, but there is a lingering doubt about whether King's sprawling Western fantasy time traveling horror adventure can ever be done justice. Much of the trepidation around adapting the 8 novel series is its interconnected short stories and novels comes from the disastrous release of the 2017 movie adaptation, starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. Now, screenwriter Akiva Goldsman has addressed how there is very little to be said about that movie other than it failed. The Dark Tower is almost indefinable, and the only person who could have ever written the tale of Roland was Stephen King, mainly for the simple reason that the world of Roland is so interwoven with King's other works that it is almost impossible to separate the two. Long before the MCU brought long form interconnected storytelling to movie theaters, King was doing the same thing in book form, weaving a story that fuses together the quest of the last gunslinger with iconic characters and locations from King's earliest novels and a close to the bone real life appearance by King himself. Trying to condense it into one movie was never going to satisfy fans of the novels, and it didn't. Speaking with Collider at San Diego Comic Con, Goldsman spoke briefly about the movie, giving a little insight into why he considers the movie as much of a failure as anyone else. This is what he had to say. I kind of just failed at the Dark Tower. It's not that it got away. We just failed at it. We tried to put the pieces together. We couldn't hang on. It kept shifting. Everybody had a different point of view. So many of us had started it and lost it. By the end, a lot it was a lot significant hopes and dreams that led to not very much. That's no exactly passing on a thing, but it's a loss of it. To
Mm-hmm.
answer The answer to that is very simple. Don't mess with the king. So how can Mike Flanagan avoid another Dark Tower failure? Don't mess with the king. The Dark Tower began life as a relatively simple short story, opening with the ominous line, "The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed." Set in a bleak landscape that seemed almost post-apocalyptic, the story contained elements of old westerns, a little magic, and the mystery of the originally unnamed gunslinger and his quarry. The 2017's Dark Tower attempted to abridge several threads from different novels into a 2 hour introduction movie to the franchise. It also removed too much from the main story fans wanted to see to ever be a success. As a huge fan of the novels, Flanagan is not looking to truncate King's world, but instead embrace the chaotic tale of the Dark Tower as the author created it. There may be some way to go until Flanagan's movie franchise gets underway, but fans are hoping that this time the wait will be worth it.
It's got to be long form.
Yes.
It's
I think-
if you look at his IMDb, over half of his shit's long form. The
Mhm.
Midnight Mass, the Fall of the House of Usher, which I've heard is great.
Yeah, I have.
Like it
yeah.
needs to be long form with a budget.
Yeah.
Like Game of
It-
Thrones budget.
It needs to have a team of people that are willing to put
Come
in
on,
the
HBO.
time.
Yes.
That's the issue. Is the people that made it the first go around thought they could slap an adaptation together.
Well, they were like,
and
we'll get
realized,
more than
wait a
one, so we don't
fucking
have to put
minute.
it all in there. And it's like, no.
There's a reason the Tower series is considered Stephen King's magnum opus, is because it's a nexus of all his work, just in general, and it just happens to be a story of the gunslinger, but it's really like a victory lap of his entire bibliography.
Yes.
And I think the worst decision made in this whole fucking movie, and I still think to this day that whoever at the think tank thought this was a good idea to make the movie be somehow this spiritual sequel to the books and not just a full traditional introduction to a whole new world and franchise, I think that motherfucker needs to be slapped so goddamn hard that he still feels the imprint to this day.
Yeah.
Because that was such a stupid idea. As cool and as much as I did enjoy it as a fan, knowing that this is something that could have been so much more, that was a horrible idea to do it at first.
Yeah.
Like the concept of Roland starting the loop again and having the horn and all of that, that's really fucking cool. But that was the end of such an already long, incredible story. So that having that whole little moment there was like that hope, like it ain't over. He can try. He's got another chance. Like he's down, but he ain't out. And it was at least that was my interpretation through the book. And I feel like a lot of other readers got that similar feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing where you have the, like when you, as the reader, you're reading that part where you get sucked through the top, spit back out in the desert, and in the fleeting moments, the tower actually tells him maybe this time it'll be different.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've never read a book that had an ending that way, where you feel like, that hype up moment at the end of a film where the sequel's coming, but at the same time it's like, oh shit, like we're gonna go again. And like, I don't know, it had that kind of energy to it, and using that as just the basis of the first movie, that the first taste that anyone who's never read those books is gonna get of this story, I feel is just a middle finger to like all 7 fucking books. It's like, yeah, fuck you. You don't need to be read.
Well, I never read them, but when I saw that movie, I was just like, yeah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the actor's fault. It had great actors.
Oh
Yeah.
no, Idris
Bad
Elba,
writing.
he killed it as
Matthew
Roland.
McConaughey.
And I would if they got a second chance to go
They
back
got
and make
fucked.
this movie and do it right, I think Matthew McConaughey deserves another phone call to go, hey man, let's try Walter O'Dim again. And I think he can, because he was a great casting for that. And what he had to work with and the direction he was put with, he was a good on-screen Walter.
Yes.
Maybe
So-
with the
and-
help of AI, they can get this made on a lower budget, because now you can do some crazy shots with AI.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, man, we just don't want to spend the money. And it's like, but you just spent, $200 million on this show.
Yeah.
And when we can't get 200 for this,
Yeah.
come on.
If they give Mike Flanagan the budget that the Acolyte had, no doubts in my mind that it'll be a very great visual representation of what's, as long as it's well written.
And
but-
take time and tell these individual stories that are going in Roland's quest.
Yeah.
Because each story that's happening, there's some sort of significance that always get pulled from it, and it's Roland's character development in real time happening. The
Yes.
stories that are unfolding is what's making Roland become the character that you see at the end, obviously, like any hero journey.
Yeah.
And and to me that was one of the charms of Roland as a character, is that he starts the story and it's just no fucks given. I'm going to the tower and I'm gonna fucking put a bullet in anyone's head who gets in my way.
It don't
And
seem
then
like it should be that hard to do.
but by the very end, he has that classic. He softens up a bit,
Of
and he has a
course.
purpose and a reason to fight. So when he does throw down, it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Instead of just him doing the bullet tricks for the fuck of it, like you see those things happen, and they have weight, just like in Marvel and any other big blockbuster type movie. The CGI spectacle parts have to have an emotional buildup so that when that wow factor kicks in, it resonates and you actually are invested and you want to see this ridiculous like CGI thing going on.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, be it robots, superheroes, evil shit coming out of the walls, it doesn't matter. If you have a narrative weight to it, then it makes those scenes worth a fuck. It makes them worth the budget, and it makes the spectacle even more like bombastic and in your face, and the whole the entertainment quality just goes through the fucking roof.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting that how often is it that you have a writer that comes out and it's like, we fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and that was my thing from this article is like just having the balls to come
Admit
out to
it.
be like, yeah, it's like,
True.
And not
imagine if
blame
Peter,
people.
yeah, imagine if Peter Jackson fucked Lord of the Rings up. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like that's kind of what this is. This
Ooh, I
level
shivered
of
at the thought of that. That's
yeah, right. So, and the balls on this guy to come out and be like, yeah, we fucked up. But here's the thing, though. It's like everybody had different points of views. Things kept shifting, this, that, and the other. I would be very interested to see what this dude's original script looked like and what the
yeah.
original plan for this was. Because I mean, hell, they went through how many directors, you know, before
Opie was
production.
attached at one point. I mean,
Yeah. So
remember, but they couldn't get the budget. Dude, the movie was an hour and 35 minutes.
yeah, I know. I
Get
watched
the
it recently.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Was it better going back?
It was interesting after like doing the
Reading all
books
of it? Yeah.
to
It
see
was
the
a
nods,
it was a
but
fun return to that world, but it was not done justice
Dude,
the
an
way
hour
a
and a
general.
half? That's a
It
B
was not
movie.
done. It wasn't done justice the way a new audience needs to have their first taste of this story.
yeah, exactly. So, but the
Something
balls,
I think it should be a
because
TV show on HBO.
yeah,
Not
I I
Netflix.
think
HBO.
I think I think the first movie, The Gunslinger. Hear me out, guys. I think if someone, I wish it could be us and an infinite budget to tap into, we'd make our own version of The Room. No, but I wish that the first movie could be done in this weird art house style, or at least the first two. Like make it like a mini series where we cover books 1 and book 2, and have the movie start in 4.3 ratio black and white like a classic western. And when Roland is in that initial universe, walking through the desert, through Midworld and everything, it's black and white, or there's like a haze filter on it to where like, to really visually show you the world's moved on to the point where, like, even the color is going away.
mm,
And have a moment where when he's finally on the beach and he has to select the drawing of the three, as he goes into these new universes to pull these people from, it's like it's also a nod to Wizard of Oz, which would show back up later in a Wizard and Glass adaptation. But have it to where when he goes to these new universes and as he gets people, as Roland's character goes from being old and jaded, as he becomes more of a human being again, let color kind of start to bleed back in a Schindler's List fashion. Like have it to where, like, when it would show the rose, it's as blood red as like the bloodstone in Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
but have it to where when we get to where there's a prime universe and as he leaves certain territories, like going from in world, mid world, as he traverses all world in general, as he gets closer to the tower, he see like he either do it where everything is in color, and as he makes it closer to the tower, the color fades, or the other way around.
Hmm.
And I always thought that would visually look so fucking good, man.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of the story is just like the way that King visualized and wrote the novels, they could start a movie or a TV series with a very limited budget and still get what they need out of
I
the first book.
Mm.
absolutely, that first book can be
Whole
adapted on
lot
a
of walking and
shoestring
talking,
budget.
right?
It's a
Yes.
lot of yes, it's a lot of
Whole lot.
deserts.
Yep.
Like it's like the whole production value would be the desert, and
That's
all
your
you
whole
would
first
really
season.
need,
Yeah.
yeah, and all
First
and
season of book.
what you would need is someone like Elba and McConaughey to ground that in reality and ground it, and make it, with their acting ability, because the dialogue throughout The Gunslinger is simple, it's short, it's to the point. And then there's one major moment, and it's when they finally meet at Golgotha, and there's this part where Walter breaks Roland's third eye open. And there's this long talk that they have, and that's where the meta of everything kind of comes into play, where he's like, Roland, like, you have no fucking clue what you're a part. You don't even realize how insignificant you are. And it's him playing the head game, and it's the start of a head game that lasts up until the end of the story. But it's just right out of the bat where it's like, Roland, you're not shit. This world is one of many. And it's him dropping the multiverse concept, or King's rendition of it, and it's so well written, and the dialogue, it's just like, that's the point where a page turner, at that point you're like, I'm speed reading this shit, it's so fucking good, like.
Yeah.
And that it's a really great scene, and because it's the big climax of the story. It's not a fight, there's no good there, like the whole time through the story, you're reading it, you're like, Roland's like, when I catch him, I'm gonna kill him. Like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. Like that's what this is all about. This is what I'm here for. And when he gets to it, they don't. There's no fight. Instead, they sit down and they talk. And like I said, they go into some crazy concepts, crazy shit. And then the book ends with him waking up and Walter's gone. And it's just him staring off into the distance. And he's just thinking about what he's been told, and he thinks about the tower, and then the last shot of the book movie should be Roland sitting at that beach, kind of bringing that Michael Whelan painting to life from the illustrations he did for the series, where Roland is just on the beach staring out into the ocean, and in the very faint distance you see the outline of the dark tower. Because a common thing that gets said throughout the stories is that like every time when Roland looks towards the tower, it looks close, but it's still so far away. Like he sees it, but it's still just out of reach.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, having the balls to come out and just admit that they fucked up, it also kind of like reinforces the idea that people want this. It can be done well. They had an opportunity to do it and they failed at it. So why not give it another shot? Now's the time to try to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
And I want there to be a timeline in the real world where something like this gets adapted, and it's this beautiful movie that is a faithful adaptation. But I've been in limbo for so many years on it, as well as so many other readers, and the sour taste this movie left, while it had so much to give in its own way, it wasn't what we were wanting.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can't gatekeep it. You got to let somebody do it
It's
till they do it
like,
right. I mean, eventually someone will
right,
hit it.
but
It'll happen.
but you but you can't keep telling motherfuckers you want oatmeal and they keep handing you a bowl of grits. You can
Well,
only
that,
keep
that would
telling
make you
them,
mad as
hey,
fuck. I mean,
yeah,
I get some sugar with this shit,
you eventually got to
some
push that
butter
ball
back
back
there,
and go,
motherfucker.
hey man, Hey man, get it right.
I
Get the right
want the
ingredients.
cinnamon oatmeal, motherfucker. You know,
Yeah, right. So
with the
speaking of
veggies.
oatmeal, Ryan Reynolds wants Wesley Snipes' Blade to get his own Logan style movie. So Deadpool star Ryan Reynolds is calling for Wesley Snipes' Blade to get his own Logan-like conclusion following his return as the Marvel icon in Deadpool and Wolverine. The actor took to social media to celebrate the return of Snipes as the Daywalker during the multiversal madness of the box office dominating MCU sequel, sharing images of himself with the Blade star behind the scenes, calling him Marvel Daddy. You can check out what Reynolds said below. There is no Fox Marvel Universe or MCU without Blade first creating a market. He's Marvel Daddy. Please retweet for a Logan-like send-off. The return of Snipes' Blade had some fans calling for the actor to continue his legacy, either in the MCU or in a fourth separate Blade movie. No doubt many would love to see the action star receive the same treatment as Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. The intention with 2017's Logan was to give Jackman a final conclusive send off before he decided to return for an adventure with Deadpool. And it would be very easy to do the same with the Daywalker. In fact, a fourth blade could even follow Logan's post-apocalyptic esque tone, reusing a scrapped idea for 2004's Blade Trinity. The initial idea from writer David S. Goyer saw Blade surviving in a post-apocalyptic world in which vampires have now taken over. Told in the vein of I Am Legend, the story would have seen the last surviving humans living in camps, vampires ruling the earth, and Blade wandering alone during the daytime. While Goyer changed his mind, this approach could be perfect for a Blade swan song. Title it Daywalker and watch the box office roll in.
Yes.
Alongside Reynolds, yeah. Alongside Reynolds' cry for a final outing for Wesley Snipes' Blade, director Sean Levy has revealed details of how the actor's return came about. Wesley's return as Blade was a very early idea of Ryan's. We wanted to explore themes of legacy characters and their endings. Ryan had said Blade never really got that moment. I think people don't even realize how much they miss Wesley Snipes' Blade until they see him. Let's give them that feeling. So Ryan reached out to Wesley. Wesley has not played Blade in a long time. He and Ryan have not been in close touch in a very long time. But we made clear to Wesley that this was not going for a joke. This was out of reverence for his legacy as the iconic character. Directed by Levy from a screenplay he wrote alongside Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and Deadpool and Wolverine. How cool would this be?
Love it.
Like, why not?
Well, you know, all those people
And
that were like whenever they're always like the first black and it's like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, with Black Panther stuff.
Let's
Yeah,
go back to 1998.
yeah,
Dude, I
exactly.
remember my stepdad love it, like watching Blade on VHS over and over.
Yes,
And
yeah,
like not
I
a
will,
comic book guy, you know, but
yeah,
loved
dude,
the fuck out of some Blade.
I will never forget the Tuesday this movie dropped on VHS.
I
I
still have
I
that
made a
copy.
I stayed out of school so I could rent it the minute the video store opened, so I could watch it. That's one of the first movies I was ever hyped about.
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember that and I remember watching that and being so satisfied by it that I remember I sat at home and I probably watched that movie like 3 or 4 times, dude.
Well, when
Yeah.
you see him in this movie, it's like, dude, he's holding up good.
Yeah, he's
He can
aged
do
very
this.
well.
And
Yeah.
and I'm a sucker for he said the line.
He
I
did.
I loved when he said motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah.
I was like, little kid Travis. I mean, like any old fart like us, man. We love those little member berries as much as we make fun of it. But hear me out. Let me entertain y'all for a second with this, and maybe I feel like it's gonna piss someone off out there, but who cares? A Blade Logan movie. You have a legitimate serious film. Since Blade does not have, or I mean, and maybe it's happened throughout the years, and I've just been ignorant to it. But one of the things that made that original film so good was that they weren't necessarily going off a specific source material. Blade didn't really have much of a source material.
Yeah.
And so they were able to create
Yeah.
its own organic story with Wesley Snipes and all that stuff. Okay, that being said, maybe it's still like that. And so that the writers of that movie, along with, I assume Wesley Snipes would absolutely have a hand in writing this movie. But have it to where Blade's doing his thing. Even stick to the Daywalker concept. To a degree. Yeah. But have it to where he stumbles upon a child that starts to almost like Logan, and I hate to be so parallel to it, but have it to where it's a kid. He has similar.
Will that be younger
He's
Marshala?
Blade. By the end of the movie, we do some time jumpage here. By the end of the film, Marshala Ali is like Blade's right hand man.
You have him pass the torch.
Mhm.
Hey, it could even
Wesley-
be his kid.
And
Hear me out
hear me
there.
out.
That's how you get
Hear me
another
out.
Daywalker. You breed a
Yes,
Daywalker.
exactly. But by the end of the movie, though, you have a story crafted where Marshala Ali takes up the mantle as Blade. He's still very much Blade. He has the same things.
Of
He's the
course.
Daywalker. He has
Bloodline,
the
yeah.
senses of a vampire, and he's half human. And by the end of the movie, Wesley Snipes' Blade has established the Midnight Suns. We let those characters show up long enough to be their thing. Have the threat be over this child, because if he doesn't become a force for good, he becomes a force for evil. So have that dynamic established.
Mm-hmm.
And build it up to where he sticks it out with the original Blade, and whenever Blade sacrifices himself, let it be that way, very in the same Logan style. Have it to where Marshala Ali picks up the sword, puts on the shades and the coat, and he's like, "No, dude, this ain't over."
Yeah.
And while it might not be Wesley Snipes' Blade character in the OG Blade, we would have a Blade that exists and is very much Blade, but Wesley Snipes' Blade and everything that he did happened. And it's not just a shoehorn nod to a legacy that's done in a film, but you can actually establish that original character that helped lay the foundation for the X-Men movies, for the Fantastic Four, and all the in-between stuff. You can have that guy, you can have that character be just as much of a prequel style tentpole guy that can help.
Well, they always give Iron Man the glory, but it's like, well, it kind of started with Blade, man. I mean, that was
don't get me
like
wrong,
10 years before.
And I think it doesn't insult Robert Downey Jr.'s
different world.
What he's done to make the MCU as popular as it is in his portrayal of Iron Man. And I think Wesley Snipes can get the well-deserved brought up to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that way Wesley Snipes and all the OG fans get that one last hurrah with him, but the new generation get their Blade, and it's done in a style that the OG people are like, good pick, Wesley.
Yeah. Well, and who knows? I mean, we haven't really got anything confirmed for Disney Plus, right? Like, we know we're getting Agatha all along.
I'm sorry. My train of thought, I was immediately thinking, but at the same time, the movie, it would tread such a fine line that like it could almost end up becoming the Mask of Zorro, and who the fuck wants that?
The fans are already calling for him to cancel Marshala Ali's movie. Like it's going on. There's calls for canceling that and bringing back Wesley Snipes, and it's like, hey, we can do both.
Exactly, right?
You know what I'm saying? This is comic books, baby.
Yeah. And, with the way that they did Werewolf by Night, it's not too far-fetched to say, like, do a Blade series. Like, turn that into a 6-episode. I mean, think about some of the
limited series.
Yeah, and have it a one and done, and you can do it as...
Give him a send-off. Let him die on camera. Give him a proper...
Yeah. Like, why not?
I don't think they'll connect them. I don't think they'll do that. It would be cool. But
Yeah.
they want Marshala to go on to be the new, new blood.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but it would still be cool to get that send off. That, just like Logan. Logan was great. It needs to be rated R, it needs to be gory,
Yeah.
gotta have blood. Fuck it. Bring back what's his name?
Steven Dorff.
Yeah. He's out
Yeah.
there. He's made a
Yeah.
comeback over the years.
Which, how crazy is that? Steven Dorff was the bad guy in the original Blade with Wesley Snipes, and then was in True Detective with Marshall Ali, who's going to be the new
Whoa.
Blade. Yeah, right. 6
We're
Degrees of
With
Kevin
like,
Kevin
Bacon.
I'm about to
Bacon,
say,
yeah.
yeah. Don't you guys feel the bacon sizzling?
Yeah. So, I
I
mean,
feel it.
they could do a lot with it, and I'm here for it. But like, yeah. And I think that just solely based off of the reception and the money that Deadpool's made, we may get
Oh,
Magneto, Michael Fassbender
yeah.
back as Magneto. We may get those characters. Jennifer Garner coming in as Mystique. We
Gone but
may
not
get,
forgotten, come bring them back.
yeah, that could be what Secret Wars is, and that could spiral into this, that, and the other. Who knows what? But like, just for a second, having those characters show up, do something badass. I mean, think about it. They did Wesley Snipes and Gambit and Jennifer Garner's Elektra, and
Oh.
they legitimately shared 2 scenes with those characters. They met the characters, then they drove to the Casanova or
Car
Cassandra
scene.
Nova's, and then they had the fight sequence, and then that was it.
Yep.
And that's all you fucking needed. So, like, I could definitely see this, and I really think whenever we were talking about it, like, Deadpool's going to change everything. I think
Mhm.
this is how Deadpool's going to change everything. I think that Kevin Feige would be insane not to bring back McAvoy,
Well, the people
Fassbender.
want it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I want it. I want a Blade follow up in the style of Logan. Let's make it happen. Why not?
I didn't even know I wanted it until he came on screen. I was like, oh,
I mean, yeah,
shit, there's
the
Blade.
tweet, the quote was right, man. Like I, as a fan, and of course I can sit and gush about the movie from my childhood and yada yada. I mean, I'm on board with everyone else. Like, I didn't realize how much I missed seeing him as Blade until he walked on screen, for sure.
Yeah. So,
That was the biggest shock
yes,
out of all
because
the
I
polls.
never,
It was like,
Oh yeah.
Blade?
I
If
never
I had to
would
say
have.
there was a
What?
jaw drop moment, it had to be that.
And he just came
Yeah.
in the room like, what the fuck's up? And was just
Yeah.
talking shit
Yeah,
off the rip, dude, with the sunglasses on.
yeah.
He's like, I heard you were retired. I'm
He pulled out
retarded.
a bazooka. Yeah.
That was
Tired.
fucking great. Like, you call me retarded?
Damn. I can't wait to watch that shit again.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, that's all the movie news, man. That's all I got.
That's it.
So we're currently in Comic-Con, right?
It's ended. D23 is this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11
So that
through
being
13.
said, we're gonna pivot our trailer time till next week.
Well, there's no trailers. I looked, there's none.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's a.
I was like, what?
I
Where's
mean,
the
it's about as
trailers?
bleak as the void
Well,
right
dude,
now.
Deadpool just dropped, and they're like, let's hold off because this movie's
I
making
mean,
all the fucking money.
right.
Like, if anything comes out right now, people will forget about it. Kind of like this pivot, segue. Zack Snyder's director's cut drops, and nobody's fucking knows it because Deadpool's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those movies dropped on the 2nd.
Which
That was last Friday.
And
I mean,
I'm hoping we have a more positive review.
I think we will.
I hope we have a better.
After seeing that trailer, it was like a whole nother movie. Remember, I think we held off. It was like we gotta. I don't know.
Was our ratings pending?
I think so.
This was
I
like, we
know
have to watch.
Griffin's was
Oh no!
specifically because I remember Griffin saying, "I'm gonna hold
Oh
some
no! I
reservations."
remember now. It was like we have to rate these separately
Oh,
because it's
that's
Oh,
not the
right.
same.
okay, yeah.
We have to rate these, and then we have to rate those, like, because it's not the same. It won't be the same. It's gonna be like a whole nother movie. There's scenes in this shit that was like that wasn't in the movie, you know.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Definitely
this. I
way
mean,
longer.
I just want it to be. I want it to be a beautiful mess, like all of Zack Snyder's films.
Yeah.
It looks good. The clips that I've seen.
Hell yeah. I'm down for it.
We're watching the Snyder cut again.
Yeah, right.
2 of them
Rebel Moon, Snyder Cut, baby.
next week.
So,
Checks in the mail.
and the ship's on its way.
Release the air cut.
Mhm.